First, a little bit about me, so you know what kind of the beast I am, where I come from, why this guy is here. I was born in Iran, you speak, many of you maybe heard on the news. By the age of 18, I moved to Afghanistan to study medicine. For 7 years I was there. Then I moved to Europe. I was waiting because my parents who moved here prior than me asked me and practically begged me to come here. I was reluctant at the beginning. I arrived and I lost my parents shortly after. The reason I brought you that quick history is because you have to understand. I came from a country that had a revolution, and practically over 2 weeks, everything went upside down. The whole country was taken by some group of people. I studied in a country that within 48 hours, communist Russia came in with the tanks and troops. I continued 7 years in that country. I witnessed more than 24 coups d'etats, 5 of which successful. So I am very familiar about the power of the control and the definition of the power as it is in a political sense. So when I came to Canada, I want to admit that I was duped by Embassy of Canada in Belgrade, Yugoslavia. And I was told, when you go there, we need people like you, educated people. We need doctors. We need engineers. I came here with the hope. The first job I had, sweeping on the floor in the factory. $5 an hour. So that didn't deter me. In fact, it gave me additional tools to understand my existence. Personally, I was born free and I will die free. And between these two pivotal points of the life and death, I am not going to capitulate to someone else's ideology. Period. That is my goal. I don't know about coming back here, it's not about me. Party is not about me. About 8 years ago, I ran as an independent. As I said, I've always been independent. At that time, I realized the hassle, the battle, the hurdle that every candidate has to get to the door and prove that I am a human being and I am running to improve the condition. So many doors knocked on close to my doors, with the F off even in some cases. You are a crook politicians, I don't know who are you, what accent you are, I am not giving the country in the hand of foreigners and so on. Let's see what we have now. Some of you, including Sam, mentioned about the multiculturalism. Let me tell you about multiculturalism. In 1982, let me go a little bit further. In 1960, Diefenbaker introduced a bill about the right of every individual. 22 years later, they passed a about the charter of the Canadian Charter of Rights. So everybody said, okay, everybody has right. Green, white, Chinese, Russian, tall, female, male, okay, so it's gone. Let's get on to the business. No, they didn't stay like that. In 1988, they brought an act, the Multiculturalism Act. And one part of that act is allocated money to a specific ethnic group to keep their own identity. Now, if I wanted to be Iranian, if I wanted to be Afghanian, if I wanted to be Chinese, what the hell am I doing in Canada?
That's a good point.
Now, I don't really. Adversity is very good. We had a food today, all sorts of the vegetable, vegetarian, meat, and we had coffee, we had tea. That is adversity. The moment you come to me and say, you have to pay additional money for this specific food over the other one, then I have a problem. Especially that money comes from my pocket. It is what our government is doing right now. Now, every one of you know the problem. I'm not going to deal with the problems. But I'm going to talk about solutions. Grassroots movement, as Bob indicated. Very good. As Sam was pessimistic about the government is so corrupt, so broken, it cannot be fixed. But I am coming from a school of the logic, facts and figures. I believe dignified people have only two choices in their life. Either they succeed or die trying. So I'm not going to lose that idea. 8 years ago, a group of us across the nation through the Skype, we discussed why independent candidates have a problem. Because they don't have organization. Because they don't have organization, they don't have resources. Like Party Conservative has, Liberal Party has, or NDP for that matter. And by the way, that cat scenario that you were saying, actually, I remember Tommy Douglas, who is the founder of CCF, said, we had in the colony of the mice, we choose cats to rule us. So it's another anecdote. I realized I have to look at my experience and my logical sense, how I can devise a method to overcome or hoping to overcome the system. And I realized the only way that we can tackle the problem to see the problem where it resides. The problem is not the dogma. The problem is a right, left, socialist, union. The problem is the way the parties are operating. You have a pyramid scam. You have a leader like Patrick Brown that just shoved in from the Ottawa, penetrate, takes the place of some people like Elliot, for instance, and then brings their agenda with them. Why one person has a power in one organization, one political organization? Why we have a party based on dogma? Why don't we have party based on constituency? In this room, I am pretty sure, as you alluded, that every one of us has someone or two things in the closet. I'm not no exception. I'm not revealed that, but having said that, if I want to attract every one of you to change your own communities, without dictating policy or rules to you, would you be happy to sit in one table and say, okay, we move, but we share our resources and experiences? Yes or no? So the party is designed that way. Canadians' Choice Party designed to be a federal party. But because the rules of the federal party to register the party is slightly different, you need 250 declaration signed across the country, and I am just one-man show, by the way. Or at least what I was, till recent movement. I had 3 candidates on the first election, 2011, 4 candidates on 2014. But getting all of these people who want to serve their community, a combination of the grassroots movement and the political share of the resources combined can change the system for better. I was in an interview a few years back on a radio, and the anchor person asked me, he was very conservative, he said, what is the name of his schmooze party? Canadians' Choice Party. I said, it's not Canada Choice. It's not Canadians with the apostrophe before S. It is Canadians with the apostrophe after S. That means the party of the people. Without telling them what to think, what to do, or solve all of these regulations. I have an online show Mickey Mouse show. I had Jack McLaren on my show just before the New Year. He told me there is more than 365,000 rules and regulations in Ontario alone for businesses. That means everybody in this room is guilty of doing something illegal. Do I want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, fight the traffic, go and put up, pardon my language, with an asshole supervisor, earn my money, and before I get my money, 30 or 40% of that goes to the hand of someone like Kathleen Wynne to make a rule on how I should live? That is why at the beginning I said I was duped. It's not democracy. If it is democracy, we wouldn't. By the way, how many of you knows about the percentage of the voters that voted for the majority government in Ontario? Anyone? 14. 1/4. One of my hobbies is the idea of the democracy is already being vanished there. So you were talking about the union. You're absolutely right. Union gets the money to vote. Governments or political party governments, they pay, for instance, teachers union or any other union to get the votes. So coming back to the Canadian Choice Party, now at the end, I just want to touch on that for a few minutes and I have finished. With the Canadian Choice Party, we are, with the help of course, Arthur Smitherman, who graciously came to me a couple months ago and said, Bahman, what are you doing with your party? I said, it's sitting there like a lame duck, like any other parties. He said, what is the principle? I said, this is the principle. He said, are you flexible? I said, absolutely not. He said, why? I said, the party is based on the flexibility. If I want to change that flexibility, then I have to introduce a dogma. And I'm not for the dogma. So he started working hard, gathered at least more than half a dozen people so far, to create constituency associations to be registered on the elections in Ontario. If we manage to get 50 or 100, because we have another 15 new ridings based on new redistribution, to the total of 122 now. If we manage to get as many as these constituency associations, they work independently, they are not voting member of the party, they work based on their own constituency for their constituency. At the time of the election, they can elect whoever they want to be as a nominee or their candidates. And someone asked me, again, in one of the radio shows a few years back, so if you have all sorts of the opinions, and if you form government, what would happen? I said that is worked out. The moment this party become the winning party, all of those people who were elected, as well as all of those people who ran and not elected, get under 1, 3 or 5 or 6 days of the main General Assembly. They bring all the issues of their ridings. It has to be prioritized based on the popularity, and it has to be discussed and voted on. And after that, the action plan of the government will be introduced. Right now, parties goes around and like a combo in McDonald's. Do you want combo 1? Or do you want combo 2? It is the combo of the conservative. These are our platform. And this is liberal. And this is NDP. The way I look at it, the politics of Canada in last 20 years or so, is like these 3 parties is like 3 horses attached to the same carriage. The base principle are the same. They're just different color horses. And there is one person running that carriage. The only person or people who enjoy this ride are the people who are sitting in the cabin and we don't know who they are, and they are usually unelected individuals. That is the way I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is the way I see it. So the only solution, this party is not about me, as I was talking to, he left, on the washroom on the way. I am old to have ambition about being premier or being even elected. Even if I get elected, a friend of mine asked me, can you sit in the house for 2 hours with those idiots? Someone like me, I can't. So my ambition is not that. But I have kind of my own ideas, because every one of us, because I'm one of those that philosophically do not believe in the altruism. I don't. I think everything that every individual does has interior motive. Maybe that motive is not financial, maybe that motive is not material. There is a motive. You mentioned about saving the life of a child. What was your motive? You were
Live up to my conception.
Oh, no, no. Well, your motive, yeah, but internal motive is what? Internal motive usually is either you want to be controlled, be satisfied, be happy with yourself. And all of the above. My ulterior motive in this case is to make my mark, to bring a change to the system that, as you call it, long overdue broken. And in order to do that, there is no two needs, resources and people. With the money, I cannot buy good people. With good people, you can always find good money. It's very simple. Those who want, not with me, there is Bob's party is there. In Ontario alone, we have 20 registered parties, that's correct? 20. But at the time of election, you just hear about 3 of them. Why is that? What kind of a nefarious mind is running the media here?
You're federal, correct?
I ran for federal and provincial.
Oh, both, okay.
I ran for both of them. I ran 2 federal general elections. I ran for the constituency, but the incumbent in the first one was the Jack Layton. And I'm glad that Sam mentioned about someone is dead should not be, we should not have the kind of the duplicity. Jack Layton and his wife are a scumbag, in my opinion. And someone even 2 years ago in 2014 election told me, you should not say that publicly because the man is dead. I said, so did Hitler 60 years ago. But nobody talks about Hitler.
Don't worry, I told him for you.
Yeah. So the second time, the incumbent was Bob Ray in Toronto Centre.
I told him too.
Yeah.
Don't much.
The 2 other by-election I ran 2012 and 2013, which the Minister of Trade again parachuted in by-election to be elected, Freeland. And provincially I ran 2011 and 2014, of course. And many of you said we ran unsuccessfully. I don't believe that. We didn't win, we didn't get elected. But I don't call it unsuccessful. Especially Bob, you succeeded a lot of things. And I want to. So at the end I want to wrap it up. Just as the rest of you know what it is an option. I'm not here to sell anything. The only thing that I'm selling is the idea. My party is registered in 2011. It has been on and off by 1 or 2, 3 many people. I'm not hoping that after these meetings all of a sudden the miracle happened, oh hallelujah, this party become reform or anything like that. It is just another option. Either use it or copy it. Everything is online. My life is as transparent as I am. And maybe I am one of those that have much less in the closet than most of you, because I am very honest. Thank you very much.